Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michael. All right. Let's just give it like another minute so everybody can kind of get in. Okay. Is there anybody else here beside Michael that can hear me? Can you all hear me out there? Just checking my audio. Can you all hear me? Carmencita, good morning, Justin. Okay, great, Jackie. All right, let us begin. So this is a class about your seller pass away, your seller die. How will you go about in taking that listing? Your seller's in heaven. Who's going to sign your listing? Mom died, she's in heaven. Who's going to sign your listing? That's the crux of this class. And then also, if you like, I can kind of go over, if you were to take a probate listing, what car form would you use in this post-NAR settlement era? Okay, well, if you want me to, just type in the chat box. I can go over a little bit about that. You have a probate listing. How would you fill out? Which form would you use in the post-NAR settlement situation? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I see in the question and answer page would like me to go over a new form. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So look, let's just go. Let me just go over some general stuff first, and then toward the end, we will get to the toward the end. What we'll do is this. Toward the end, let me just see here. Toward the end of class, we'll take a peek at the new mandatory car form. Okay, we'll take a look at the new listing agreement. We'll take a look at the compensation situation to the listing agent. We'll take a look at probably what is best practice to navigate, to ensure you get paid to be in compliance with the NAR settlement. If you're on the listing side or you represent the buyer side, we'll make sure that when you fill out these forms that you're in compliance to make sure that you get paid. Okay, we would do that. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let us do this. So let me start. Let's see here. Let me just share my screen. Okay, my name is Paul Horn. I'm a probate attorney. I'm also a CPA. So today we'll get into a little bit of tax as well too. Okay, why? Because you're gonna run across a lot of situations where mom died. She only bought the house for $200,000. You are selling her house for $1 million. She only bought it for 200 grand. She died. Now her children ask you to sell this house, and the comps are around $1 million, $1.5 million. And the question goes, do I need to pay any taxes? The children, do they need to pay any taxes? We're gonna get into that a little bit as well too. Okay. All right. So let's do this. And by the way, this class is being recorded. So give it to a Monday, you'll get a recording. Give it to a Monday, you'll get the recording. So what do? When a homeowner passed away, the first thing you get a phone call from the son, the daughter, is you're going to pull the grand deed. Just pull the grand deed. Hey, Mr. Title Rep, could you give me, please, the grand deed to 123 Main Street, Laguna, Niguel? The title company will email you the grand deed. Okay, will email you the grand deed. And when you look at the grand deed, the owner is going to only be in two camps, two directions. On the screen in front of you, on the left-hand side, if the house is in a trust, no probate needed. The successor trustee would have the legal right to sign your listing agreement. Okay? So imagine this, mom passed away. Mom has 4 children. The house is in a trust. Which of the 4 children would have the power, the legal capacity to sign your listing agreement? If the house is in a trust, that individual child would be the successor trustee. When you go draft your trust, the lawyer is going to say, okay, you have 4 children. Yes, you intend that this house be divvied up among all 4. You love all 4 children equally. Great. Now, which one of the 4 is the most responsible one to oversee the trust, to hire, to sign the listing agreement with the realtor? Who is the most responsible child? And mom and dad would choose that child. And that child is known as the successor trustee. And the lawyer would write that in the trust. Okay? So very, very important. On the left-hand side, this is what you do. Mom died, pull the grand deed, the house is in the trust, successor trustee signs your listing agreement. So now would be a good time to take out your iPhone and maybe take a picture of this. This is one side of the equation. Okay, this is a good diagram for you. Take out your iPhone, take a picture of this. Okay, it's a good diagram. Now, on the right-hand side of your screen, mom died, you pull the grand deed, the house is not in a trust. Mom did not have a trust. Then it goes to probate. If you own a house in California and you don't have a trust, too bad, so sad, welcome to probate. Okay? All right. In a probate, so mom died, there's no trust, it's going to go to probate. In a probate scenario, which of the 4 children would have the power to sign your listing agreement? It would be the personal representative, okay? So everybody, so here again, take out your iPhone, take a picture of this. This is your diagram. Mom died with a trust, it's on your left-hand side. It's the flow. Mom died without a trust, she has no trust, it's the right-hand side of your screen. Mom died, there's no trust, it goes to probate. The personal representative would be the individual with the power to sign your listing agreement. Okay, all right. So the next question is this. Where would you find a copy of the trust? So mom died. We know the successor trustee has the power to sign your listing agreement. How would you confirm who is the successor trustee? How would you confirm that fact? Who is the successor trustee? By looking at the trust. Okay, so where would you find a copy of the trust? Well, you can, so it's not at the county recorder, it's not there. the county recorder do not have a copy of your trust. Okay. Most likely have your children search the house. Have them search the house for a binder like this. Have them search the house for a binder. A binder looks like this. It's going to have the trust in there. What about the lawyer? What about the lawyer who drafted the trust? Yeah, you can call him, but he or she might be dead, right? Lawyer died too. Thank goodness, right? Lawyer died too. Oh my God, thank goodness, right? So just be careful, right? Just don't rely on your lawyer to always have a copy of the trust, because he or she, I guarantee you, will die. Guaranteed. Okay? Everybody die. All right. So keep that in mind. So a good practice guide, a good takeaway from this, if you have a trust, make sure you have an electronic copy. So whichever lawyer that drafts up your estate planning ought to be giving you two things. They'll give you the original binder plus electronic copy. Original is good, a copy is also good. Okay. All right. So electronic copy. So why do I harp? Why do I harp on an electronic copy? There have been situations where mom died, the house indeed is in the trust. The house is in the trust, but no one can locate this trust, just cannot find a copy of the trust. Imagine that for a second. There's a trust, but you cannot find a copy of the trust. It happens a lot, right? Can you see how that can happen? Because people lose things. Things get lost. Okay, so be careful. So a copy is good enough. My question to you is this. What happens if you cannot find a copy of the trust? Just cannot find it. You cannot find a copy of the trust. Then what happened? Well, it goes to probate. Mom died, you pull the grandee, the house is in a trust. The grandee shows that, but you just cannot find a copy of the trust. Then what happened? Well, welcome to probate. Okay? Even though the house is in the trust, if you cannot find a copy of it, too bad, so sad, welcome to probate. Okay, so just be careful. Now, so when you go get your estate planning, in this binder, you should have these 7 elements, 7 different documents. The first one is the trust. The second one, very important, is called the durable power of attorney. Now, what is the importance of a durable power of attorney in your business, in your line of business as a realtor? Well, can you imagine a situation where you are having a listing appointment with an elderly couple, the wife and the husband? The wife is fine. She wants you to sell this house. So she signs your listing agreement. The husband has dementia. The husband is unable to sign anything. In that situation, you ask for the durable power of attorney. The durable power of attorney would say, hey, if I'm ever incapacitated, my wife, my son, my daughter can sign my name to sell this real estate on my behalf. That is a durable power of attorney. So that's why I give you this list. This list is very important. Take a picture of this list, because when you go get your trust done, or even your existing trust, make sure you have all these 7 elements in there, 7 different legal documents. Okay. Something else that's very important. So when you go get your estate planning done, the trust will be in here to avoid probate. The durable power of attorney will be in here so that your husband, your wife, your son, your daughter can sign your name should you become incapacitated. Another document that's equally important is the pour-over will. A lot of time, you go get your trust done, the lawyer re-grant deed the trust to be, re-grant deed the house, revest the house to be owned by your trust. Sometimes you refinance the house later in life, you refinanced it and the lender took the house out of the trust and you die. Well, if you have an appropriate pour-over will, it will pour it back into the trust. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's why this list is important. All right, now let's move on. Let's touch on a lot of the majority of time when you go and sell a house for a deceased homeowner, it's very common in California. Mom died, she bought the house for $200,000, for example. She bought it for $200,000, $300,000. When she died, it's worth $1.5 million. Okay, so let's imagine this for a second. Mom bought it for $200,000. When she died, it's worth $1 million. Let's say it's worth $1 million. She only bought it for $2, now it's worth $1 million. The children having you sell this house for $1 million. You sell it for $1 million. Now the question is, what about the capital gain? You're selling for $1 million. It only costs her $200,000. So theoretically, the capital gain is $800,000, right? Well, on the screen is something known as the step up in basis. The step up in basis set the step up in basis. The step up in basis allows for no capital gain recognition. Okay, so you bought the house for $200,000. Now it's worth $1 million, $1.5 million. You don't want your children to pay any taxes on it when you die. So all you got to do is put your house into a trust. When you put your house into a trust, when you die, your children gets this house, and whatever they sell it for, no capital gain. So do yourself a favor. Do not give the house to your children while you are alive. If you do that, they don't benefit from what you see on the screen, the step up in basis. Okay? Just don't do it. On your grand deed, don't say, oh, I only have one son. Let me put my son's name on the grand deed. So when I die, it goes to him automatically. Don't do that. If you do that, then they do not benefit from this step up basis. Critical, okay? If you learn nothing else this morning, learn this, the step up in basis. Save your family some money, right? Save your family some tax money. Do not put your children onto the grand deed, but instead go get a trust, put the house in the trust. When you die, if they need to sell the house, no capital gain. Okay, now let's do this. Let's do this. Let's say you are a married couple in California. You are a married couple in California. If you want to benefit from the step up in basis, how should you take title to the house? You and your wife, you're buying a rental property. You and your wife, you're going to buy a rental property. Let's do an example on the screen. On the screen. You and your wife, you bought a rental property for $100,000. It's a rental property. You only pay $100,000. When you die, let's say when husband died, it's worth $1 million, right? California law, husband always die first, right? California law. husband and wife bought the house for 100 grand. 40 years later, husband died. That house is worth $1 million. The wife, who is alive, she goes and sells this house for $1 million. Because it's under joint tenant, the vesting, there's capital gain of 450. Okay, there's capital gain of 450 because there's only a half step up in basis. Bought it for 100 grand, sold it for $1 million when husband died. Husband gets his 50% step up in basis, 500 grand. The wife is still alive, so her basis is 50,000 because they bought it for 100 grand. Capital gain is 450 for that rental property. But we can bypass the capital gain on that rental property if we were to vest the house as community property, okay? Community property. So on the screen, if you are a married couple, you buy, when you take title to the house, the vesting, if you are married, you can do joint tenant, community property, or community property right of survivorship. Which one should you do? Well, if it's community property, don't do joint tenancy, do community property. In community property, there's two types, community property versus community property right of survivorship. Which one should you choose? Well, if you choose just community property alone, on the screen, do you see the guy cleaning the pool? If it's just community property alone, the wife can write a will to will her half of the community property to that pool boy because he's an amazing pool boy. Okay, he cleans the pool so well. But if you were to vest it as community property or survivorship, that's called the I love you way of holding title, where neither party can will their half away. Take out your iPhone. This is a good picture to kind of remind yourself about vesting. What I'm going to do at this point is this. At this point, I'm going to give you a couple of gifts. Okay, I've been talking for 25 minutes. Let me give you a couple of video that summarize what I talked about so far. Okay, so the first video I'm going to give you is this video right here. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put this in the chat box. This is your first video. Okay, if you click on it, it will take you to my website. You'll see this video. Also very important is the vesting. I'm gonna give you this link as well. This is video number 2. This is video number 2. It summarizes how you should vest title. In this video, you can forward it to your buyer if they wanted some understanding how to vest title. What is the difference between tenant in common versus joint tenant? What's the difference between community property versus LLC and so forth? In this video, I address the tax implication. Now, I am a probate attorney, but I'm also a CPA. CPA. Anybody know what CPA stands for? Chinese Party Animal, right? CPA. Ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, what does CPA stands for? That's what I'll tell you. Okay. All right. Let us continue. Let us continue. Oh, let's see here. Let us continue. So now let's move on. Let's move on to probate. Let's get to probate. Oh, let's see here. So let's get on to probate. First of all, why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with this? Why don't we start with the probate diagram, okay? And I think, and by the way, Elsie with old car done an amazing job. Elsie, I think she emailed you these handout, right? This handout in front of you. If not, I think it's somewhere accessible. Okay, yeah. So California probate process takes 1 year to complete. It takes 1 year to do. So if you're in a probate, that probate is going to take a year to do. Your question is, can I sell this house while the probate is being conducted? Okay. Yeah, so yes, I am a trust attorney. That's all I do. I'm a specialist. I do trust and probate. That's my specialty. Someone asked that in the chat box. California probate process takes 1 year to do. What you want to understand is, can I sell this house while the probate is active? Mom died. This freaking probate is not going to be done until a year later, but can I sell this house right now? The answer is yes. You can sell the house while the probate is active. Okay, you can do it while the probate is active. So here's what you're going to do. If you want to sell this house, if the children, mom died, there's no trust, the children want you to sell this house ASAP. What you're going to do is, or the children, when they go see the probate attorney, ask the probate attorney to give that individual, that son or daughter, full authority in the probate. Okay, so in a probate scenario, in a probate situation, there's only 2 types of authority. Okay, there is full authority, there's limited authority. This is also part of your handout. Elsie, thank you so much for posting that Dropbox handout. When you click on it, you'll see this handout. Okay, you'll see this handout. When you look at the screen, this handout, we have covered the left-hand side, how to sell a house in a trust. Now we're moving to the right-hand side, which is probate. Okay, it's all coded in red for you. In a probate, there's full authority, there's limited authority. When mom has a house and the children want you to sell this house, ask that lawyer to give the children that personal representative full authority. Because with full authority, there's no court confirmation. When it's full authority, all you need to do is this. Focus your eye on the screen, right in the middle of the screen, the box in red where it says full authority probate. You just need to get 3 forms to close escrow. Form number 1, order for probate. Form number 2 is called letters. Once these 2 forms are issued, you can go and take the accepted offer, give it to the probate attorney. He then would generate form number 3, the notice of proposed action. And that's it. You can close your transaction. Let me show you what those forms look like. Okay. So you're in a probate. It's full authority. You want to close escrow. Very simple. Very simple. Okay. Very simple. On the screen, and this is another good time to take out your iPhone and take a picture of this. You're in probate. Your personal representative have been given full authority. You just need to give these 3 forms to escrow, to close escrow transaction, and all this can be done in 100 days. Start the probate, the lawyer starts the probate, 100 days later, you close escrow, even though the probate takes a year or 2 years to complete. You sell the house, you get your commission, the buyer gets the house, you're out of the picture, you're done with that transaction. That's full authority. So full authority, just 3 forms. You just need to get 3 forms. Form number 1 is called order for probate. Form number 2 is called letters. Form number 3 is called a notice of proposed action. Okay? What do they look like? This is form number 1. It looks exactly like this, order for probate. Form number 2, it's called letters. It looks exactly like that. It's called letters. Form number 3, it looks exactly like this, the notice of proposed action. That's it. Okay, with full authority, you just need to give these 3 forms to escrow, and you can close your transaction. This class is very useful for you. Sooner or later, you're gonna come across a transaction where your seller's dead. Just watch this video. Okay? Elsie is gonna email you this recording on Monday or Tuesday. Keep it in. Oh, you guys cannot see the screen? Is that right? You're not able to see the screen? Someone says, Luke said he's not able to see the screen. Is that right? Can you guys see the screen? Have you guys been seeing the screen? Yeah, so yeah, Luke, I don't know what's going on, but other people can see it, Luke. Yeah, good. I'm glad you were able to been seeing the screen. Okay, yeah. So the 3 forms, if it's full authority, the 3 forms that you need to give to escrow is this. If you're in a probate transaction, this is form number 1, order for probate. Okay. Form number 2 is this. It's called letter. This is the second form. It's called letters. Form number 3 is this. This is the notice of proposed action. Okay. That's it. Probate takes a year to do, 2 years to do, 3 years to do. We don't care. If it's full authority, all you got to do. If it's full authority, all you got to do, take a picture of the screen. All you got to do is give escrow these 3 forms. And you get these 3 forms from the probate attorney. That's it. Simple as that. Okay. If it's limited authority. Now, another great diagram for you to see is this. Mom died, there's no trust, so it's in probate. Mom has 4 children. How does one of these children become in charge? How does one of these children become the personal representative? Mom died, there's 4 children, one of them initiate the probate process. That person who goes and meet with the probate attorney, who initiate the probate process, that child is known as the petitioner. Once he or she is approved by the court, then we call him or her the personal representative. If there's a will, we call him or her the executor. If there's no will, we call him or her the administrator. Take a picture of this. This is a nice diagram explaining to you the player, the title, what we call them, their legal name, legal capacity. Mom died, there's no trust. All 4 children gets along. One of them goes to see the lawyer to get the probate started. In the beginning, we call him or her the petitioner. Once that child has been approved by the court to be in charge of that probate estate, we call that child the personal representative. If mom had a will, we call that person the executor. If mom had no will, we call that person the administrator. A very powerful diagram. Take a picture of it so you can go back to it later when you need to. Okay. All right. Now, If your probate is limited authority, okay? So now we're gonna switch, now we're gonna go back to your handout. Now we have maneuvered our way down to the right-hand side of your screen, the right-hand side, okay? The right-hand side of your screen, okay? If it's limited authority, there's something called court confirmation. If it's limited authority, God help you, because it's gonna take 8 months, 9 months, a year to complete your escrow transaction because it's limited authority. Don't do that. If you go to an experienced lawyer, an experienced probate attorney, he or she will make sure you get full authority. But if you are saddled with limited authority, this is the order. Order for probate comes out, letter comes out. Then that lawyer's got to publish in a newspaper saying, hey, we got a house for sale. Once that publication is done, you can accept an offer. The buyer's got to put 10% down. Okay? And then the lawyer would petition the court, hey, judge, it's limited authority. Hey, judge, it's a house for sale. Hey, judge, give us a court date to auction this house, to court confirmation this house. Then when you go to court, that's where the overbidding begins. If there's another buyer that shows up that wants to steal this house away, they can do that. Okay, so limited authority, not a very good way to go about it. Okay, all right. So now at this point, if you have a listing, how would you take it? Whether it's probate or whether it's a standard transaction, what are the new car form? What are the new car form? Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into this. All right, so let's get into this. All right, let's start with this. You have a listing, okay? You have a listing. August 17, new effective date, August 17, brand new car form, residential listing agreement, okay? If it's a probate listing, okay, so this is important. You all can see my screen, right? You all can see my screen, yes? You see this new residential listing agreement, yes, yeah? Okay. If it's a probate, listing is 90 days. So we're looking at the new car form now. The new car form, this is the new car form. If it's a probate listing, it's good for 90 days. If it's a regular, your standard transaction, it's not to exceed 24 months. If it's a probate, you just X that box called probate, okay? Now, let's talk about your commission in this post-NAR settlement. This is your new residential listing agreement, whether you're in probate or whether you're not in probate. This is it. Even if it's your seller still alive, this is the form you use. When you look at C1, okay, in front of you on your screen, compensation to seller broker, you put there, if the seller is willing to pay you only you, 3%, you put 3% there. You're not sharing this with the buyer now. You're not. 3% goes right there. Okay, this is you, only you, post-NAR. You only. In the past, right? In the past, seller gives you 6%, 5%, and you split that with the buyer's agent. No more. Okay. Right below that, what is this? Additional compensation to seller broker if buyer's unrepresented. That means there's a buyer and that buyer is stubborn. That buyer does not want to hire any agent at all. That buyer is going directly with the seller. Well, if he or she is not represented, you can charge, let's say 1%, for example, because you can have a lot of headaches, because you're going to have to essentially walk that person through, right? Through all the forms. that's where you can ask for additional compensation right there. For example, 1%. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to show you, I think that's critical on this listing agreement. That's critical. That's critical is this. On the screen, you're going to see this new revised car form, multi-listing service addendum. On this form, you want to affirmatively talk about seller's concession. So if you look at the screen, this form is default to seller not giving any concession. If you don't put an X at 5B2, no seller concession. What does that mean? That means that your new MLS, right, is not going to have a commission field anymore, but it might have a concession field, yes, yay or nay. If you don't have a talk with your seller, hey, seller, let me go through these new form with you. Hey, seller, do you want to have your house a little more competitive, sell it more faster, incentivize buyer's agent to perhaps, create some buzz, show this house? Are you willing to give concession to the buyer to pay for some stuff, AKA buyer's agent compensation? If the answer is yes, seller, I'm willing to give concession, you X that box. Very important. If your seller agreed to that, on the screen, under item K, additional term, you put your concession term in there. So then when you go to your MLS, you can check the box that says yes, concession is allowed. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is this. Let's say if you represent the buyer, okay. If you represent the buyer, very important, if you represent the buyer, the first thing you want them to do is to sign your buyer representation form. Have them sign it, right? Before you show a house, your buyer must sign this form. This is your, if you represent a buyer, make them sign this. Well, not make them, but if they want to hire you, have them sign this so you can get paid, okay? This is the buyer representation form. And do you see this red box right here? This red box right here is known as, this buyer's form is default to non-exclusive. So if you want to mark exclusive on it, would be probably a good idea, because you're going to spend so much time and resource to helping that buyer find a house. Maybe you ask for some loyalty. Why not, right? You're going to be doing a bunch of free work for this buyer until they find a house. If they trust you enough, why wouldn't they allow you some exclusivity, right, to help them out? So I just want to point out to you that this form is default to non-exclusive, okay? Just keep that in mind. All right. And then here, do you see this red box? That's your compensation. Very important. Buyer, how much you willing to pay me? 3%? Okay, fine. You put 3% in there. Hey guys, this is important. If you put 3% in there and the seller is only willing to pay 2%, you're okay. You can take the 2%. But if you put 1% here, and the buyer and the seller is willing to pay you 3%, you cannot take the 3%. So whatever you put on here is your maximum. You can go lower, but not up. Okay, so I just want to point that out to you. You don't say, oh, let me just go 1%, get them to sign this. I think I can hustle the seller to give me 2 more to match my 3. No, whatever you put here is the maximum. All right, so that is the most important thing on the buy representation, okay? The next form I do want to show you is your RPA, okay? On your RPA, this is the new RPA form. On your screen, this is the new RPA form. Fill it out, right? You fill it out. The most important thing I want to show you on this form is right there in red, right there in red. How do you get paid? This is the RPA form. This is how do you get paid? Well, under G3, it says seller agrees to pay the obligation of buyer to compensate buyer's broker under a separate agreement. So when you put in your offer, maybe you check this box to ask the seller to pay the buyer's broker's compensation. Okay. So you check that box, critical, you check that box. You check that box, and then you check that box, and then you must accompany it with this form right here. Seller payment to buyer's broker. Okay. So your purchase agreement asks the seller to pay for buyer's broker's compensation. You fill out this form, seller payment to buyer's broker. And if we look at here, seller payment to buyer's broker, on the screen, seller agreed to pay buyer broker, for example, 3%. That's what you do if you're a buyer's agent to guarantee that you're going to be paid. I want to point to you a very important phrase. You have the seller sign this form, buyer sign this form, kumbaya, but you forgot to have the buyer sign a representation agreement with you. Too bad, so sad, seller's not going to pay you. They don't have to pay you because this form says, yes, seller is willing to pay 3% to buyer's broker compensation, but that's only effective if the buyer have signed the representation agreement with you, buyer agent. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I've been talking for 50 minutes, 50. Okay. So yeah, this session is recorded. It will be sent to you. So yeah, so let me just kind of peruse through the questions. So Timothy asks, who determines the authority? Well, the judge does. A good probate attorney, Timothy Nguyen, the question he asks is, who determines full authority, limited authority? Timothy Nguyen is asking, man, if full authority is the way to sell it much quicker, why is there even limited authority? Timothy Nguyen wants to know, what are the probate attorneys smoking, right? Why don't they give full authority all the time? The good one, Timothy Nguyen, the good one will give you full authority. The good one that knows how to navigate the court system to get you full authority, okay? All right, so the next question, let me see what the next question is. Let's see here. Paige asks, is your buyer at any risk when they purchase a home that has not completed the probate process? Paige, the answer is no. If that child, the personal representative, has been granted with full authority to sell that house, they have the authority to sell it. So if your buyer buy a probate house, he pays the money, he takes the house, and that's it. Even though the probate process has not been completed. Okay, let me just scroll up to see what other question we have. Let's see. Timothy Nguyen asks, can you update your vesting? The answer is yes. Yeah, so at this point, what I want to do is this. At this point, I want to give you one more video. Well, I want to give you 2 more videos at this point. I want to give you 2 more videos that summarize the last half an hour. So I want to give you this video right here. Let me just show you what it looks like. I'm gonna give you the third video that covers the probate process, the California Probate 8 from beginning to end, start to finish. I'm gonna put this link. I'm gonna put this link in your chat box. You can click on it later. So this will be my third link to you. Third link. Okay. You can click on this. It'll go over the probate process again for you slowly. Okay. Then my fourth video that's helpful to you. The fourth video that I want to share with you is this. If you wanted a slowed down version of the new mandatory car form for the NAR settlement, what you see on the screen, I have a different link for you. This is the fourth link. And that's it, guys. This will do it. I've given you 4 separate videos in this chat box. You can click on later to go back and review everything we talked about. On top of that, Elsa will email you this recorded video. Okay. So I hope you find this class helpful. It should be, right? I want to thank OCAR. I want to thank all of you for being with me today. I want to thank Elsie for getting me on track and setting this thing up. So a big shout out to Elsie and OCAR for bringing you this webinar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Someone. Luke says he joined late, so he wants me to give him the first 2 links. Let me do that. Let me give Luke the first 2 links. Let me see here. So Luke, in the beginning, Luke, I gave you 2 links. And let me see here, Luke. In the beginning, I gave you 2 links, Luke. Let me do that right now for you. So this is, let me see here. So this was Luke. This is for you, Luke. So that's one of them, Luke. And the second one, Luke, is about vesting, Luke. That was the second link that I gave you. So here it is. This is the second one right here. Yeah. Okay. So Doe asked me, if someone has the power of attorney and a will, can he avoid probate? No. A will is absolutely useless. A will is going to push you into probate. A will is useless. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.